Now we are going to look at a new way of adapting when things don't go as planned. Instead of framing portfolio management as a wealth maximization problem, let's frame it as a navigation problem. Before GPS, if you had to get from LAX to JFK, it would be critical for the navigator to determine the direction to your destination. After plotting a course and estimating the winds aloft, he might tell the pilot, "Fly a heading of 60 degrees." Well, inevitably, the winds aloft will be different than forecasted. So when blown off course, every navigator would plot a new course to his destination. Portfolio navigation is very similar. It assumes you need to get your assets from where they are to some destination point where they need to be. The critical thing to know is the direction to that financial destination. But instead of measuring direction in degrees, it is measured as a rate of return that must be earned on the assets in order to reach the projected payouts at retirement. We call that the desired target return, or DTR. The current market value tells you where you are, so when you know you're off course, there are three ways that people currently make adjustments. 1. Stay the course, hoping that the winds of fate will blow you back on course. That's called the buy-hold strategy. Rebalance. Well, that will get you back to the original asset allocation, and that would keep you in that blue cone. The last is liability-driven investing. That's what I did my doctoral dissertation on. This would deleverage by selling equities and buying bonds. But that is the opposite of what is needed here when you're below the DTR. That would put you below the blue cone. So how would portfolio navigation have worked if you started it when the market was an all-time high, like where we are now? I will share with you a case study. To test the efficacy of portfolio navigation, we purposefully chose to start right at the top of the stock market in 2007, just before the market plummeted 53%. We assumed a woman named Martha was 55 years old, wanted to retire in 10 years, and based on her annual income, her account balance in her 401k, and her annual contributions, determined that her DTR was 8%. The first time the DTR changed was 10 months later, when her portfolio declined 4% to $614,000. Notice this is not an attempt to buy on every dip and sell on every peak, like a market timing strategy. It is driven by changes in the DTR. The next increase in equity was 6 months later, when the portfolio value declined another $100,000, causing an increase to a DTR of 10%. Now, some people have compared this to doubling down in blackjack. Interesting, they use a gambling term to describe correcting the path to her goal. The last increase in equity was about 2 months before the bottom of the market. Equity was increased to 90%. Her portfolio was now down 25.7%, but remember, the market was down 53%. As the market rose, her DTR declined, and by the first quarter of 2011, her DTR was back to 8%, and her portfolio was $46,000 more than she started with. But what if she had just bought and held the S&P 500 SPDR? she would still have been down 7.3%, with a market value of $648,000 instead of $745,000. Remember, there's no such thing as a riskless strategy. We are operating in a world of uncertainty, so there isn't any knowing what to do. However, we believe that portfolio navigation is a professional way to manage that uncertainty. It has been a pleasure bringing our latest advancements in financial management to your attention.